I shot an entire YouTube video about this beast of a camera and I didn't like it, so we're redoing it. What's going on guys, Chris here, welcome back to another video, and today we're talking camera gear. More specifically, the DSM-C3 Red Komodo 6K. Now this is a cinema camera, there's no question about it. It has no IBIS inside, it has mediocre autofocus, shoots in R3D red code RAW, it has 16 plus stops of dynamic range, and shoots a very beautiful 6K image, but I'm selling it. For a little background, I have been a Canon shooter for years and years and years, but as of last September, I bought a Sony FX3 to replace my Canon R5 because I realized I was shooting more video than photography and I wanted the best of the best. And the FX3 was amazing and I had it for a while and the videos that came out of it were great. Photography was mediocre, but then I've kind of found myself at this stale point where I feel like I wasn't even being creative anymore because everyone had this camera and everyone's video kind of looked the same out of this camera. And I know it's not the camera, you can color grade it in different ways, but I don't know, everyone had it, and everyone had the Sigma 24-70 or the 16-35 or the 20mm 1.8, which I'll say is the only one that is really like amazing. I feel like that lens is one of the best lenses made for modern day mirrorless cameras, and I enjoyed it. It was great autofocus, good dynamic range, but I feel like everyone had it and it didn't really feel special, so it wasn't really fun to use. I know, superficial reason. So I decided to trade it in for this bad boy. Now right off the bat, in terms of image quality, this camera probably delivers the best image I have ever used. Color grading with it is an absolute masterpiece. The red code RAW files can be pushed so much and it just looks so good. Not only that, but you also look really good while shooting with it. It feels great in the hands, just like this. I didn't put on any monitors because I just used the monitor up here, and I just attached this wing rail here from Red, and it felt great. And it was just an amazing run and gun camera. 2 batteries on the back, the BP, so I got like 6 hours of battery life. I settled with this Suri Nightwalker 16mm f1.2, which on this sensor is about 21mm or so. This isn't full frame and it's also not really super 35, but the crop factor is about 1.33, so yeah. On top of that, you had that global shutter, so your handheld footage just looked really great. There was no like weird wobbling with rolling shutter, and in case you were ever shooting any fast-paced subjects, it would look really realistic and good. So all in all, it was a really good camera, but there were a few things I just did not like and I could not live with. Now, the most superficial thing that I couldn't really live with, and I call it superficial because I knew this before buying it, is the frame rates. Now this shoots 6K up to about 40 or so frames per second. That is a little bit on the low end, but that's fine. But when you drop down to 5K, it only goes up to like 50 frames per second, 4K down to 60 frames per second, and if you wanted 120 frames per second, you had to go down to 2K. And I really like 120 frames per second. The resolution is one thing, but the problem is there's a huge crop factor as you do change those resolutions, causing you to lose a lot of your image circle and having a really cropped image, and that's just something I didn't like. So I ended up not shooting any slow motion, which was fine because I was overusing it, but I don't like the fact that I didn't have the option. The next thing I wasn't a huge fan of was the boot up time. So yeah, it's not really a fast-paced camera, and that was something I didn't really enjoy because as I run and gun, I like something that can be turned on and off relatively quickly. So I would miss a few shots here and there because of that boot up time. Now I know this is a cinema camera that's supposed to stay on set and possibly just stay on and not be turned off, but I wasn't using it that way. But honestly, besides that, those were really the only 2 reasons that I disliked it. Yeah, it's a little bigger and bulkier, so it's not as easy to shoot quickly with. with, but that's okay. I think I consider this camera kind of like a Leica camera for photographers. You know, it's not the best in terms of modern day important specs like autofocus and speed, because, you know, social media now is the biggest thing. So you want to be able to pump out content without having too much friction in the production process with your gear. But this is more like an artistic camera. The images you get out of it are just that much better than an FX3 or a Blackmagic. I see its place, but in my current situation, I just moved here to China and I want to be shooting as much as possible, as quickly as possible. It's not the camera for me, so I'm going to be selling it. A little heartbreaking, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll pick one up down the road, but as of right now, it'll be picking up dust because I have purchased another camera here. If you want to guess what it is, go for it. I'll be talking about that in a later video. As of right now, this absolute beast is going back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this video gave you some information and helped you a little bit understand my thought process about the Red Komodo. It might be the camera for you, but for me, it just wasn't in this time period. My life just bounces around a bit too much. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.